Yo, quick HPAL guide on Season of Discovery Classic WoW. Not a whole lot to really go into depth about, and just a few things that some, if you've never played HPAL or you've never healed or you've never played Classic, you might not, understand right away. I'm just gonna talk about healing on HPAL. This will be a pretty quick guide. Um, so basically the stats. What I did was basically when you start on an HPAL, you I think this is probably going to be the problem for most of HPAL is just mana because uh, the less gear you have, like it actually, if you have a piece of gear that has a bunch of spirit and like 2 stamina and like no intellect, that's like a problem. You need gear that has straight up intellect. And then the spirit and shit like that doesn't do it. It looks really pretty with all those stats on it, like 2 stamina, 3 intellect, 6 spirit, and But at the end of the day, it comes down you just want a piece with fucking nine intellect basically. So basically you stack intellect. I've gotten rid of some gear, but if I go to like full end, my intellect. I could I could have this. I could probably get my intellect, my mana up to like 23, 2400, but I don't think that's as necessary at the moment. If you're like just gearing HPAL, just go for as much int as you can, because I have pieces of gear that don't give me any int, like these bracers, pants, um, this ring, this thing, this helm. I mean, yeah, I'm still. This is not like best in slot. I'm still. I mean, I'm pretty geared, but you definitely. I could get to like 2,500 mana, which would be like, that's the starting goal. But right now I have this, and you're like, oh, I don't even seem that geared, right? I mean, I have a lot of health, but it's like I only have 1,700 mana, like that. You would think I'm not that geared. Well, the thing with that is, like I said, I have these slots filled, but they're not like ideal pieces; they're just fillers. But what I've done is, my cloak has no intellect, but these pieces that don't have intellect, they have another thing. They have healing increased by 9, so healing by 11, and then you can start to get these like bigger numbers, healing by 18 and 24. So I've actually got these pieces. I got this one. This one was dropped off a mob, and then this one I was doing a quest with some guy and I seen it drop, and I was like, bro, how much you? I was like, can I buy that off you? He was like, sure. How about 1 gold? And I was like, fuck yeah. Looked on the auction house. This thing's worth like 15 gold at the time. I'm like, dude, I fucking scammed that motherfucker. But anyways, I didn't really know and he didn't know. I just knew it was good, so he traded to me. So like these bracers are level 20. The thing with bracers are, um, if I were to get like a main stat piece, it would only be like +5 for like a decent piece, or maybe like +6 intellect. So you only get a little bit of stats for those. So I just went for the healing increase. Pants, I could have really good pants, but just like the +24 healing is pretty insane. And I don't have like best in slot pants. I would be running like 6 intellect, 6 stam or something, or spirit, and yeah, basically I just did that with those. And then I have rings that do the same thing. I was running this thing. This is from a quest you can get, which is pretty good, but I decided just to run the. I don't really want to go below 1,700 mana, right? And I do have the trinket. I got lucky with the roll, so that's +20. So if you don't have this exact gear, let's say you have close to pre-bis from dungeons, you're not gonna have any like form of healing increase. Like you're gonna have mana to spam. So like if I click this guy right here and I'm like that, 124. Most of you guys are like, wait, what? Do you have a next rank of Flash of Light? No, I'm using rank 1 because that's all we have. But you're probably thinking that because my Flash of Light is probably doing double what yours is doing. Baseline Flash of Light is so garbage that it's gonna be like maybe in the 60s. Like so it's gonna basically do half of what mine's doing. The reason mine's doing double that is because I've those pieces that are stacking healing increase on those pieces of gear. It adds up. It's as you can see, it's not like a flat increase. Sometimes I'll hit like 129, 130. Okay, it's going up. 31. I guess it's kind of consistent. No, it's not. So, I mean, it could be like 120 to 135, right? It gives you like a range. So I'm guessing the more that goes up, it's wider the range. So if you're spamming um, your flashes, they might just be consistent 60s to 62, but I'm sure as it goes up, you get a wider range, so like 120 to 135 or whatever. Um, Talents are pretty baseline. I'll just go over that quick. This is what I do. And the more it you have, the more crit you have. I think my crit's like decent. 6%. So sometimes the thing with HPAL, if you want to like run around and level and do quests for gold and shit, you can still run the same gear. You just go into ret and spec into this. It's totally fine because you have a huge ass mana pool and you can just judge on cooldown. It's actually not that much of like a damage loss. So it's like I could just swap over to ret with a sword and shield and I'll like take down mobs easy. So it's just like at first I was like, should I go ret because I don't want to sit there and quest really like slow and not be able to kill anything. It's like totally fine. Like I actually prefer one-handed over two-handed ret. For some reason, when you have like a ret weapon that's just super fucking slow, like I don't know what it is with two hands, but I just miss all the time. Like you wait 3 seconds for an auto attack and you just fucking miss, and you do another one and they parried it. It's like, dude, do I ever hit with this two-hand? I'd like one-handed ret way better. Anyways, let's talk about like the healing rotation quick. I don't want to make this too long. In PvP, actually, if you want to do PvP, I think taking this and dropping this and then dropping these two and just putting them 3 points in that block is really good. I actually want to build where I went Blessing of Kings, but for raiding you always have a hunter and they don't stack. So that's why I stopped and went back to this one, because this is but this is actually really good in PvP too because you have this talent. So I mean it depends. You know, there's like 2 different builds you can do in like PvP. But this is like definitely the best raiding one if there's not a hunter involved. If you have no hunter and you're in like a guild and you have no hunter, I would just go Kings, since the 12% healing increase for you if your flashlights are hitting 60 is not going to be very good. For me, you know, 12% is literally like 15 on my healing. So the healing rotation for Paladin is basically, can't really show you on raid frames, but you basically just spam Flash of Lights. If you do not have the Beacon of Light talent, I did, you know, the first 2 or 3 lockouts of BFD without the Beacon of Light talent, and you're going to get priests that are just doubling your healing. That's just the way it is. I mean, you're going to look like a sorry sack of shit. And I was like, you know, you kind of overthink these things. Like, am I doing something wrong? And you're like, no. I mean, you only have so many buttons you can push, right, in Season of Discovery. And it's actually, you just shouldn't be healing on HFAL unless you have Beacon of Light. I would never bring a Paladin who does not have Beacon of Light, because you could press double the healing spells of a priest and you're going to heal for half. That's just how it is. I think I was like doing like 35 to 40 healing most fights when I didn't have Beacon of Light. Once you get Beacon of Light, it essentially doubles your healing, as crazy as that sounds, because if you put your Beacon on the tank and they're always taking damage, no matter what you're healing. So if I have Beacon on this guy, I'm trying to find an add-on that shows like on your frames when it expires. I have to like click his frame and check up here when it expires, but he's always going to be taking damage, and because the other healers don't really focus healing on the tanks. But the thing is, when you have Beacon on this target, you'll look at his frame and he's taking damage. You'll want to heal his frame, but don't, because he has Beacon of Light. You could heal yourself at full health, and it's still going to heal this dude. It's still going to heal him. So there's actually no point to ever target the Beacon of Light guy to heal. It's always someone else. Even if they're at 99%, you're going to get more value out of that. So that's what you're going to want to do with Beacon. You basically want it up all the time. If you throw it on a tank and you're like, oh, he's not the main tank, this guy, he's not really taking damage, waste the mana and throw it on the guy who's taking damage. Like, just do it. It feels shitty to just try to let your Beacon expire. Like, oh, wait, maybe I'll get some use out of it when the guy isn't main tanking the fight, you know? They don't really tell you that. Sometimes you have 2 tanks, and sometimes this guy's tanking for most of it, and the next fight the other guy's tanking the most. I don't know. I just go. But, so basically, this is your main heal. Flash of Light. You do that, and you keep them topped. You try not to let, like, you know, you try to, like, if they're at 90%, 95, just start. It's so cheap that you can literally just spam it. I mean, it would probably take me Man, it would probably take me like close to like 50 to 70 flashes of lights spamming before I go And you have like the 5 second rule. So if nothing's healing for like, if you don't need to heal anything for a couple seconds and you wait and he drops down to 90 and you've already waited 3 seconds, just wait 2 seconds more so you benefit from your mana regen. I think that's 5 seconds. I think there's an add-on you can get too, but I don't have it. So you just kind of watch your mana and wait for that tick of like 2% mana upwards, and then you can cast again. If you've already waited like 2 or 3 seconds, just wait 2 more if you know no one's gonna die. That'll help you with mana. So the big question I had a problem with, this was like getting in my head, like why can't I cast my big heal? So you want to cast Holy Light, right? But look at my mana, just boom. It's just you cast 2 of these on a long fight, boom. Man, my mana's regenerating right now too. So it's like holy shit, man. And the fact that my other healer was probably healing him too, and that got overhealed and wasted. Yeah. So what I do is I actually have a macro, and I have Holy Rank 4, which I never use unless it's like it's at the last 20 seconds of a fight and people are dying, and I have some mana to spend. Other than that, it's Holy Light Rank 3. Why? Because that's like 100 mana compared to the 200 mana of the other one. Yeah, it's half the healing, but look, it's still it's double Flash of Light, but half the mana of this. And it's more than half of the healing. Does that make sense? So this is still your most efficient heal. I could spam this 4 times before I have to, get the mana cost of these 1 rank 3s. But here's the thing. Sometimes you need more healing, in spamming 1.5 of this 3 times. It would just be better to just Holy Light, because the healing has to come out anyways. And you just, you got to disregard the mana, and then that's why I do the rank 3, because you're disregarding your mana pool at that point. But it's not as big of a sacrifice as doing a full rank 4 Holy Light. Now, when you do a rank 2 Holy Light, no, at that point you're better off. The comparison's so weak that you would rather just Flash of Light at that point, because the mana cost is not, equaling out. So, how often do I cast rank 3 Holy Light? When I really need to, and usually you basically mana pot every fight. At some point, I'll do it like when I'm at like 60% mana, and so I don't have to worry about it. And then you have to like watch the boss's health to kind of be like, oh, boss is at 20%, I have 40% mana left, I'm just going to start bombing rank 3 Holy Lights, right? Or is something you could do if they take a big hit of damage, dude, just cast the rank 3 to top them. Sometimes it's going to be 2. Like, you'll know when you can Flash of Light a couple times, and you'll know when you have to bomb a Holy Light or 2. Now, am I just some retard talking, or do I actually know what I'm talking about? Okay, well, here's the WoW logs, and these logs are outdated. I think the way it works is just someone in your party has to be running the add-on to log everything, because these are old logs, and I actually seen these parses, went into BFD when I got a little bit better gear, and I was healing, like, so some of these, my highest HPS is 68, 70, 70, 62. I know in a couple of these fights, I did like 85, almost, maybe one even 90 HPS. So I would have blown these parses out of the water. I'm actually pretty sad they didn't get logged, because, like, for, some of these 80s and 90s, I might have been parsing like 99s, I don't know, because they weren't logged, but I just know what my healing was. So, I mean, this is pretty outdated, but as you can see, I've been parsing like consistent 83, 93, 94, 85, 84. I mean, this first one, the Baron one, that's a total shit show. I always get fucked on someone's knocking me back or something. So that's a total shit show. This Gamu Ra one, I think why my parse is so low on that is because it's just such a fast fight. If you have a good group, like, there's not a lot of healing that has to go out. So some of these fights, like I would say the first 2 are really goofy, as in they are, or no, the Gamu Ra one, that's when they like have that big absorb, and it's really awkward. I'm not sure how that affects healing though. I guess I should be healing more on that one. I can't recall if there's like a healing weird thing about it. I know it's deep. I know DPS there is, because you start hitting for like extremely low numbers. But like the longer ones, Lord Kelrus, that's That's where people are going to start to struggle. But I mean, I don't think these ones are that hard. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from. Like, so if you click on my log, let's like take a look here. What's my healing output? Healing done. Is it? I thought you could. I guess I thought it would tell me my spell. There we go. Beacon of light, flash of light. Holy light is. It's actually the same as my flashlight on this one, so I must have been pretty comfortable. How many casts? 12. This is actually, that isn't a lot of flashes of lights, to be honest with you. I don't know what that's about, but let's go to a different one. Lord Calrus, that might be different. Yeah, here we go. Flash of light, 34 casts. I did a holy rank, whatever. I did 4 of those, and then I did another holy light of this one. So yeah, once you probably get to that last phase where it's like it's like hectic, it's probably when I was casting those bomb holy lights, right? So yeah, you know, that's basically H Pal. Once you start to get better gear, you'll want to replace some for healing increases, and drop some intellect because. But you know, again, all those parses that I just went on, that was with pugs. But I mean, you know, if I had some like fucking guild group that was just like had insane DPS and they were just like, yeah, Zez, you're gonna be the only healer, then I could just I want you guys to understand that parse is from a pug, so it's a little different than going on the logs and looking at the top parse where someone was the only healer in their group of fucking beefers, right? I mean, if I wanted to, I could get a group together and have me be the only healer and just probably parse 99s the entire fight. So I don't want you guys to get so held up on Warcraft logs, especially when you're in pugs, you know? Unless you're in, like, the dirt greens for every fight. But if you're getting in the purples, like, in pugs, like, that's really good, man. Like, you got some random DPS in there. The fights are probably a lot longer than they should be. So if you're parsing decently in those pug groups, like, that's fine. So don't get hung up on those Warcraft logs. I don't think there's really much to go over other than that. I mean, you'll basically use Devotion as your aura, which is pretty obvious, and if you ask me. But yeah, I don't think I missed anything. It was a pretty quick guide of how HPAL works right now and what you should be doing. I'm sure some of you guys started healing. You're like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? I just don't heal. Yeah, you basically need Beacon of Light talent, and you need to start getting healing increases on your gear. So yeah, there you go.